Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about a Boker knife. This is a Boker Plus, and this model is the Hitman. This is actually the cheaper version of this knife. This one has the G10 with the stainless. It's a frame lock, as you can see here. There's the lock up there. Get a quick shot of that centering. But as I said, this is the cheaper version. This model is a 01B0776, but the 01B0775 is the all-tie version. So it's instead of G10, we have titanium, and that steel is VG10, whereas this one is D2. All right. So some quick specs. Our blade is 3.6 inches. Again, this one is in D2, which you can see marked right there. Boker Plus logo on there. It's a flat ground drop point blade. All right, in the reverse you see maker mark. I'm not sure what this is. The 0420, to be honest. If you know, you can tell me. But it doesn't relate to the model number or anything. Interesting. I don't know. So anyway, closed 4.8 inches. All right, 8.5 inches overall, and a little bit chunky at 5.5 ounces. This does have a bearing system in here. You can see it is a flipper. All right, super smooth. All right, pops open every single time. If I hit this lock and do a little bit of an angle here, maybe you can see it drop a little bit or swing freely. You know, if you want to see how smooth your knife is, depress the lock completely and then swing the blade. It's kind of hard to show here, but it's pretty darn smooth. But yeah, the G10 on here is also pretty smooth. You can see the texturing on it. However, it doesn't give you any kind of grip or anything extra here. The flipper also, no jimping or anything. There is jimping on the back of the blade here, which is actually very purposeful. All right. Also, this is a very comfortable knife. Being a flipper, of course, this turns into a guard on here, so your hand locks in very nicely. Also, with this little, protrusion up there. For my hands, it happens to fit perfectly and is very comfortable in multiple grips. Pocket clip on this one is also very nice. I got this one used in a trade. So I'm not sure if it was originally like this against the frame or up, but this one's up a little bit. All right, and because of that, I have no problem with carrying this in my denim jeans, which I switched back to. All right, so carries very nicely, again, on the stainless steel frame lock side, so it's super smooth. Nothing to really, grip too bad, but it's tight enough where it's still holding onto the pants. Also, you can see the frame lock here, there is a stabilizer piece here that it keeps the lock bar portion from overextending. Okay, so it hits that, so you're never gonna overextend it. It's a common thing to have these stabilizers on here now, but when frame locks first hit the scene, especially some of the cheaper models, people would go to unlock it and they would use their Superman strength, I don't know why, but they would go and like bend this thing way out, and guess what? It did not want to come back, and it ruined the knives. So it definitely screwed up some lockups for some people. Quick close-up of the hardware here. You can see 2 body screws are Torx. Some people do ask this when I do videos. I send a message and say like, oh, that was a cool knife. What kind of hardware does it use? More times than not, most modern knives do use Torx head screws, okay? It is not an Allen key or an Allen screw. It is Torx. It is a star pattern. I have some other videos on this as well, but 2 body screws are Torx, as well as the pivot screw. You can see the head's on the back. All right, so we have a nice clean look here. But yeah, I mean, super smooth. It does have a teardrop opening in the blade. I did not find this super easy to use one-handed. If you notice, I just naturally went like this because that's how I use the knife. Grabbing it with both fingers, it's kind of easier to get that out slowly. If you didn't want to use the flipper, or if you're in public and you don't want to scare anyone, that's why some people do like the option to slowly or manually open the knife without using a flipper. You can use this, but the D10 is pretty strong on this knife. All right, so one-handed, I just found it to be, a little bit difficult. Like right now, I can't really do it. You can use your thumb and the flipper. You can use the flipper to kind of slowly poke it out, then use your thumb to bring it out the rest of the way. But I don't even try with that. It's a little annoying. So I just grab both fingers here just to start it. All right, and that's only because I'm doing a review. Most times when I have a flipper, I flip it out. I'm not worried about people getting scared or anything. Being that this is D2, I did get this in a trade. I don't know if you guys can tell, but a close-up of this blade, you could see some of the staining or marks on top. That was a little bit of surface rust. So it cleaned off very easily, but it did stain the blade there. All right, so don't forget your D2 blades are a little bit more, you know, a little more susceptible to rust. All right, so you want to always keep a nice little light coating of oil on there, especially if you happen to live in a climate that, you know, is kind of extra humid. If you're down south somewhere, if you're out by the ocean with the saltwater air, just not a good thing for knives in general. But yeah, I mean, here's the packaging for it, Boker Plus. Very simple box with the magnetic front. I like it. I like it a lot. The cheaper version here, the G10 and D2, goes anywhere from like 80 to 100 bucks. The more expensive version, the tie with the VG10, which is also very cool. I don't have that version of the knife. However, if you want the tie and the VG10, double that. It's like 160 to 170. All right, so is it worth double the price for titanium and the VG10 upgrade? If you even see it that way, I do happen to really like VG10, but there's nothing wrong with a good heat-treated D2, which this one sports. So in my opinion, I'd probably stick with the cheaper version. I do think this is worth it for that price tag. Again, going to the tie VG10 version, 160, 170, and then you're getting into a lot more options out there. You know, all the cool Spyderco stuff people love, the Benchmade, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, what I like about Boker Plus line is the fact that they are affordable, just like Kershaw's, CRKTs, and that kind of realm of things. So yeah, paying 160, 170 for a Boker Plus, regardless of the materials, then it's kind of, I don't know, gets into that zone where there's just so many other options. Not a lot of people would pick the Boker over some of the other brands and designs. But I can say the Hitman is extremely ergonomic for me. It's very comfortable. I really like it. It does lock in the hand, okay? That jimping is purposeful. I know some people are definitely into their jimping and stuff. But pretty simple. Simple open frame, little frame lock. Going back to the pocket clip, you can see it is right side tip up, but you can swap this to tip down if you prefer that. Especially with the flippers, a lot of people do like them tip up, simply because if you happen to hit the flipper portion of it, it might open up. So people like, you know, tip up because the blade is basically against the seam of the pocket. All right, so even if you bump that somehow, it's not going to open because it's literally against the pocket. Whereas if you carry this tip up and you somehow push towards the side, you know, it's possible to maybe open up in the pocket a little bit. I don't have those problems. I don't know what people are doing throughout the day, but in my life, I never really had that happen. I understand it's a concern for some people, so, you know, to each their own. But tip up is usually the preferred method anyway. So yeah, I mean, you know, bearing system here, D2, frame lock, it's nice, you know, it's nothing crazy, nothing really to show off. It's a good working knife. I think it's very comfortable. I do think this version of it is priced right. Again, if you want that VG10 or if you're, you know, totally into your titanium stuff, that would be up to you, whether the $160, $170 is worth it to get the better version or more expensive, let's call it, because I don't think there's better or worse. It's just basically two different versions, so it's about preference. But for me, again, Boker Plus, when people say Boker Plus, if I read it or, you know, see some kind of model, Boker Plus, I automatically assume value. And when I think of value, I don't necessarily think of expensive knives. I think of good budget-friendly knives. Of course, 80 to 100 bucks isn't budget-friendly for everyone, but for most people, that would be considered, you know, somewhat of a budget knife, anything under 100. But again, for some reason, for me, I don't see Boker Plus as being like super crazy high-end knives. They're just good working knives. And I do like a lot of the different models. Boker does do a ton of different versions, all kinds of, you know, different custom knife makers do designs with them. So a lot of variety, very cool. So you can see a huge lanyard hole on the bottom. So if you like putting big beefy lanyards on your knives, this one is certainly a good candidate. Also take note that the bottom of the knife here, or the handle, is pretty pointed. All right, so it does concentrate all that pressure. If you're one of these guys who like to, you know that their folding knives could be Kubotans in a non-lethal fashion, that's certainly something to consider. This is a good one for that. But yeah, most people aren't doing that. So overall, Boker Hitman, the cheaper version, I like it. I like it a lot. You know, I was happy with the trade that I did, and you know, I want to say it's a keeper, but I'm always, you know, things are in and out. Always doing trading to get new stuff. So I will say this, if I was not trading normally and I wasn't doing videos on YouTube with knives, this would be one that I would keep. I do like it that much that I'd want to keep this one. So that's it. If you guys have this knife, let me know your opinions down below. Specifically, if you have the other version, is the tie in the BG10 worth it to you? Are you still happy with it after using it, you know, and so forth. So hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.